The irony of serving yourself and others. I think we're good to go. We're going to start off with this number here, 10,000. What do you all think this 10,000 represents? Feel free to unmute yourself, or if our moderator, Drea, unmutes you or asks to unmute you, you can go ahead and share. I'm going to love the engagement as we go through our presentation. But what do you think this number 10,000 represents?
Students.
Could be close, but not exactly. But you're close.
R. McLean, you can unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I didn't have a question. I'm sorry, I didn't have a question.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
10,000. Do we have any answers in the chat, Drea?
Yes, actually, we have someone who said we are 10,000 strong employees. Number of employees. Yep, employees.
Okay, so employees, students. You all are close. I guess employees and students could be included in what the number actually means, but the number 10,000 is at minimum the amount of people that on average that we would influence throughout our lifetime. And so this is just take into consideration, this 10,000 is for the shy individual, the person who's just a normal, you could be an introvert, not really that outspoken. 10,000 people, and you can Google it, look it up online. 10,000 people within your lifetime, you will have influence. Now, this is going to come from daily interaction, shaking hands, going to get coffee, going to your kids' sports games, going to your grandkids' recitals, whatever the case is, 10,000 people. And when I first learned this statistic, when I read it, I was surprised years ago, but I was also encouraged to say, okay, well, if 10,000 is kind of on the minimum without even trying, if I really put my energy, effort, and intentionality into my interactions, how I deal with people, bettering myself, what could that number be? And so the 10,000 may seem like a lot to some, to others it may seem minute, it may seem small, it may seem like it's not really anything. But imagine if we intentionally put our energy and our efforts into those interactions that we have with people. 10,000 at minimum. This is just on daily interactions. Let's play a little game before we dive into the very important parts of our presentation. I want you all to describe your school department or your school as food dishes and explain why you chose those dishes. If you could, you can drop them in the chat, or if that's probably easiest, we can just drop those answers in the chat.
What we got? What we got? What you guys thinking? What kind of food?
Hey, gumbo. It's a gumbo. All
Okay.
mixture of all kind of things.
Okay, I like that.
We got mixed vegetable soup,
Oh, interesting.
barbecue chicken.
Okay.
Come on, what else y'all say? Okay, a buffet full of dessert and vegetables.
Okay, buffet. All right.
Got taco salad.
Taco salad. Okay, nice.
Buffet. A lot of people saying buffet.
Buffet.
The work,
Okay,
the works pizza. Okay.
specific.
Melting pot.
Okay.
Mixed salad.
And I think what I'm hearing is it's a variety, right? The schools are diverse. There's a bunch of different kind of flavors, people with different personalities. There's a lot of differences within our schools or departments. Wherever.
Hard cracked boiled eggs.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
We got Taco Bell and Panera.
Taco Bell, Panera. Let's take a few more.
That hard cracked boiled egg was funny. Okay, Rice Krispie treats.
Rice Krispie treats.
What else? One more. Okay, Fruit Loops.
Okay, Fruit Loops. I love Fruit Loops. All right. So one thing we can see and we know that we each are in different departments. We're in different buildings. But there's a variety. There is diversity. There are many different personalities that we're going to come in contact with, whether it be those who we work with, coworkers, team members, or a family, a student, or those who we're helping. It could be a customer or a client, but we're going to come in contact with many different personalities and many different people. And many of us are committed, right? We could probably agree that we're committed to putting the customers first. We're committed to putting the client first. We're committed to putting family first. But I have another question. Do we have this same level of commitment when it comes to ourselves? Do we have the same level of commitment with how we treat ourselves? Do we have the same level of commitment in our energy, in our investment that we give to ourselves so that we can be the best for whomever we are serving? Now, when we think about putting the customer first, customer or client or family or student, what comes to your mind first? And you all can unmute and go ahead and answer. What comes to your mind when you hear putting the customer first, putting the family first, putting the client first, putting the student first?
We got priority in the chat.
Priority, okay.
Priority, yep.
Making sure everybody is well taken care of.
Okay.
Service,
What was that last one?
service, so serving others, a servant.
Okay.
Yep. We got their need comes first, being attentive to their needs. They're always right. Their needs taken care of. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Okay.
I like that.
And I believe that we all have a good sense of what it means to put the customer, the client, the family, the student first. But let's just be honest. I think sometimes it gets flat out difficult. It gets flat out draining. It gets flat out tiresome. Sometimes we may feel like giving up. Sometimes we may feel like throwing in the towel. Sometimes we may not feel like getting out of the bed. We understand what it looks like to commit to the job. We understand what it looks like to commit to helping, to putting everyone else first. But I want to challenge you all, and some of you may be doing this, some of you may not. I want to challenge you all to have that same level of commitment when we're looking at how we treat ourselves, because what we put into ourselves is going to directly influence how well we can serve other people. What we put into ourselves is going to influence directly how we serve other people, the families, the schools, in these different environments. Now, very quickly, we're going to go through a little list of what it looks like. These are just some examples of putting the customer or the client first, making a good first impression, even if their experience prior to you was not enjoyable. Remembering within the first 30 seconds that first impressions are made. Some people argue it's the first 7 seconds. Some people say within 10 seconds. About the first 30 seconds, first impression is made. Understanding what client and customer need you are feeling. Remember that this is something I do. I try to remember something unique about whomever I'm working with at the time. Whether it is a student, a staff member, a teacher in the building, I try to remember something unique about them during their process, especially if it's a moment of distress for them, because it can make someone feel special by remembering those small things. Small details matter. And then lastly, as we all know, putting yourself in their shoes. If you were them, what would you want in this situation? Sometimes it pays to take a deep breath, step back for a second and ask yourself, if I were this person, if I was this person in this situation right now, what would they need from me? What would they need from me? Now, we're going to quickly go over the difference between customers and clients. Customers versus clients. Some of us are in school buildings. Some of us may not be in the actual school building. So the terminology that we use with who we're working with and serving may differ. So we have students, we have families, some have customers, some have clients. And I thought this video was very informative.
Welcome to Academic Gain Tutorials. In this video, we will look into the differences between customer and client. We define a customer as a person who purchases the goods and services from the business in exchange for monetary consideration. The term customer is derived from our Latin term custom, which simply means practice. In other words, the term customer means a person who is habitual of buying the goods frequently. The term client refers to the party who has business dealings with the organization. He is someone who is the recipient of services. So, let's look into the basic differences between customer and client in a tabular form. Difference number 1, a person who purchases goods and services from the company is known as the customer, whereas client refers to someone who seeks professional services from the company. Number 2, the customer engages in a transaction with the company, whereas the company and clients are in a fiduciary relationship with each other. Number 3, there exists an agency agreement between the client and the service provider. Conversely, there is no such agreement between the customer and the business entity. Number 4, the company offers goods and services to its customers. Talking about clients who seek for professional services like advisory, legal, consultancy, and many more. Number 5, a company focuses on selling the product and services to the customer. On the other hand, the company focuses on serving the client. Number 6, a relationship between customer and business exists for a short term only. However, a customer can have repeated transactions, but only for a limited time. In the case of a client, the business engages in a long-term project with the client. And difference number 7, the degree of personal attention required in case of the customer is less as compared to the client.
I wish you could get this.
Welcome to Academic.
Could everybody hear the video? Could everyone hear that good?
Yes, we can hear it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. What I want us to understand, and this is something that I've had to adjust to, adapt with, and really be intentional about myself is, yes, I have the commitment to serving the people. Yes, I have the commitment to my school. Yes, I have the commitment to the students. Yes, I have the commitment to my department. But am I displaying that same level of commitment to myself? Because if I'm not pouring into Nate or whomever you are, if I'm not pouring into myself the way that I'm supposed to be, doing those things that start before I get into the building, how in the world can I expect myself to perform to the best of my ability? How can I expect myself? Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be days where you have to push through, be resilient, and get over the edge, get over the hump. We understand that. But by and large, is my commitment to myself the same as my commitment to my workplace, to my building, to my school? And I guess what I'm trying to say is that the preparation begins before we step foot in the building. The preparation begins before we get on the phone. The preparation begins before I interact with that student. The preparation begins before I meet my team members at the door, before I scan in my badge in the morning. The preparation begins before that. We're going to go through a list of some things that I'm sure many of you know about. Some of you may already do, but these are just some ways to give yourself that same level of commitment, that same level of work pouring into you so that you can be the best for whoever you are serving, whether it's eating a balanced diet. Do you make time to disconnect from work? Do you celebrate the small wins in your life? I think it's important for us to celebrate the small wins. Things that you do in the workplace, things that you do in your building, in your department, and beyond. Because if I'm someone who believes that they're sold out, that they're committed to the building, that I'm committed to the mission, that I'm committed to the school district, but I don't believe I'm getting validated, there may be times where we have to celebrate those small wins, where we have to tell ourselves you're doing a great job, where we have to set smaller term goals, work on them, achieve them to help give us that push to keep going. Do you have the same level of commitment to yourself that you do to your work? Are you giving yourself time to take a break, time to disconnect, time to detach? Because let's just call it what it is. It is of my belief that we all need this. I think when you service families, when you service students, when you serve the community, essentially, because I believe the schools and the districts at large are catalysts in the community. And when we are doing this kind of work, it can be very taxing. Some may not want to call it work, but it may be very taxing on you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And so I'm wondering why I don't feel my best when I get to work. I'm wondering why I don't feel my best when I wake up in the morning. Ask yourself, what kind of commitment do I have to work, to school, to building, to my customers, to the clients that I'm serving, and what kind of commitment do I have to myself? When I look in the mirror and I wake up every single day, what have I committed to you? What are some ways that you all, I guess, recharge, refresh, work on to help yourself get back in alignment for the next day? You all can, someone needs to be
I'm
muted.
like, let me just finish it and then I can just sit here when everyone else is finished.
Can we get that person muted?
Okay, now Nate, you unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. Our moderator Drea is going to help us, but if you all want to, whoever wants to speak can come off mute, or she can unmute you. But share with me, what are some tips? What are some things that you're doing where you're committing to yourself so that you can be the best you when you come into your buildings in which you work in?
Well, I get up in the morning at 5 o'clock every day. I do my devotion, read my Bible, I have my workout, I ride my exercise bike.
Nice.
And I get myself in a space to where I'm able to come in and greet everyone. Because I think it's important that the students, I greet them getting off the bus. And, they always ask sometimes, why am I so happy or so charged up every morning? Or what do I have to be so happy about? But I know, like you said, if I take care of me, then I'm able to service others well. Yes. But it's from that morning routine that I do every day that I come to work to school. I get up and do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Someone said read a book, and then someone else said rest and make sure I eat breakfast.
For me, it's make sure I'm devoted in my prayer and reading my Bible as well, but also just being appreciative of life.
Yes.
I didn't have to be here. Something terrible could have happened to me, but yet it didn't. So just always be grateful.
Thank you.
Yes, I was going to say that I always make sure I get plenty of rest. If I get up at 4 in the morning, I make sure I'm in bed by 8:30 at night.
Thank you for sharing.
We got prayer, listen to music. We got some people that are saying rest, rejuvenate, stay positive, eat healthy, exercise.
Okay.
Take breaks. Let's see what else.
Let's focus in on that one. And I think all of these are good answers, but I think the taking a break thing is underrated. Especially when you're used to being told to go, 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 or push. I think sometimes we feel guilty, right, to take a break, or sometimes we feel guilty to fall back. We feel like, okay, I'm not being productive, I'm not doing work, I'm not pushing myself, I'm not getting the most out of the day, when in reality, that break that you're taking is going to help you. I could help you with the next day and the day after that and the day after that. So I think breaks are good. And I've learned that myself. When you're used to always pushing and going and going and going, you can convince yourself that taking a break and just being still in the moment, whether it's meditation, prayer, the benefits that it can truly have for you, because we all go through stressful times. We're stressed out. Well, I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah. Somebody said make sure that you're laughing too. I like that one.
Yes, yes. I think laughter is underrated. I think it's underrated. So it sounds to me like you all are doing an excellent job, or some of you are already doing some of these things for yourself to make sure that you can be the best that you can be. You can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. I think that was a nice quote that I really liked that I wanted to share with you all. Now, we're going to transition from the commitment to ourselves versus, putting everyone first. And I, in no way, am saying do not put students, your department, the district, first. In no way, shape, or form am I doing that. However, I am saying that we have to have a level of commitment to ourselves so that we can be the best at what we're doing. Does that mean every day is going to be our best? No, but the commitment to Nate before I even enter the building has to be there, like some of you shared, and it does work. It does help. The culture created in an organization often influences how team members handle customers and clients. I'll read it one more time. The culture created in an organization often influences how team members handle customers and clients. Think about Chick-fil-A. I'm sure we have 85 people on this call right now. I'm sure that there may be 84 out of the 85 who say Chick-fil-A service is outstanding. If you forget your chicken sandwich and you're pulling off the lot, someone will run and track you down and give you 2 sandwiches for the inconvenience.
Yes, it is always their pleasure to help you.
They're always there. But it's because of the culture that's been created. There is no way, because I haven't had a bad experience yet. There is no way that you get consistency across the board like that if you don't have an established culture that the people believe in. And we're going to get into that as we get further in our presentation. So we're going to go through a video that breaks down the difference in customer experience and actual customer service, which is on a more micro level for what we are each doing.
Is customer service part of the customer experience? Or is customer experience what happens when someone receives customer service? Are they the same thing? The terms customer service and customer experience are often confused or used interchangeably. They're not the same thing, but they are related. The difference between customer service and customer experience is that while customer service is one piece of the puzzle, focused on human interaction and directly supporting customers, customer experience is the sum of the entire customer journey with your business. Let's take a look at customer service versus customer experience in more detail. What is customer service? Customer service is probably a more familiar term. It's also the more narrowly scoped of the two. Customer service is the assistance and advice provided to a customer for your product or service is needed. Customer service requires your customer-facing team to possess a particular set of skills, including patience, product knowledge, and tenacity, so they can provide the answers and assistance a customer needs. It's the human element in the customer journey and the voice your customer will recognize is representative of your organization. What is customer experience? Customer experience, or CX, refers to the broader customer journey across the organization and includes every interaction between the customer and the business. CX involves all the ways your business interacts with a customer, including and outside of traditional direct customer-facing service. CX captures how the customer uses your product or service, their interactions with self-service support options, the feeling of walking into your retail store, customer service interactions with the team, and more. Customer experience includes 3 main components. 1. Customer service. This includes customer support, customer success, and self-service support, the points at which your customer interacts with your team. 2. Technology. This is the product itself, how it works and the interactivity points.
3. Design. This is the brand touchpoint, the marketing, the design, and the feelings your brand creates for your customer. While those 3 areas are quite distinct, there are no hard lines between them. All of the pieces combine and work together to make up the customer experience. Customer service versus customer experience. The key difference between customer service and customer experience is that customer experience involves the whole customer journey, including customer service. Customer service is limited to the interactions a customer has when seeking advice or assistance on a product or service. Understanding the customer experience, on the other hand, can involve analyzing data from non-customer facing teams who contribute to a customer's overall experience with a product or service. Customer service and customer experience are both important pieces to an organization's success, yet it's not possible, or necessary, to draw hard lines between them. The line between how customers use a product and how they interact with the people supporting it are more blurred than ever. Customers consider the whole picture when thinking about your offerings, and you should too. Thank you for watching. Is customer service?
Now, our moderator is going to unmute you and allow anyone who would like to speak up and just kind of dialogue. What do you believe that Columbus City Schools stands for collectively as a whole? What are some things that you believe the district stands for?
All right. And then if you just raise your hand, I can call you so that you can speak. All right. Go ahead, Devin. You can unmute yourself.
I believe the district, stands for our wellness. They have Wellness Wednesdays, and they're always, sharing stuff for us to get together with each other and take our minds off work and just enjoy life.
Okay.
Okay. I see community in the chat.
Okay. Community.
Yep. Renee, you can unmute yourself.
My thought was strong family connections.
Like that.
Pastor Coach, you can unmute yourself. Pastor Coach.
Okay, I'm trying to, for whatever reason, it wouldn't work. I've been in district a long time, and to be honest, I don't know what it stands for. It changes so often, so rapidly that I don't honestly know what it stands for.
Okay. We got what's that? Resources. We got resources in the chat. Anybody else want to speak? P. Cunningham, you can unmute yourself. You there, P. Cunningham?
Sorry, I wasn't unmuted. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I believe that Columbus City Schools stands for giving resources in the community, helping the community, wellness initiative, helping their staff, and preparing, as the mission and vision statement says, preparing for the future, just like they did the partnership with Columbus State, but having students be able to go when they graduate, which is something I couldn't do, and they could go for free, which is something I wish I could have done then. That's what I believe they stand for, helping the person as a whole, and even helping their employees as a whole, just like they gave us that wellness week off. They wanted to help us as a whole. So that's what I believe it stands for.
Thank you.
All right. I see equity and educating the community in the chat.
Now we're going to switch it to a more individual lens. What do you believe that you stand for as an employee, team member, representative, partner? What do you believe that you stand for?
And feel free to raise your hand or drop it in the chat. Anybody?
Dependable.
Okay, dependable.
Dependable. Representative. I see representative in the chat. Renee, you can unmute yourself.
Positive role model.
Thank you.
Pastor Coach.
I believe I try to stand for what's right and making sure that what is right is done by, especially by the children, and I try to be children-centered in all of my dealings.
Thank you.
All right, we got some more in the chat. Says coming to work every day and giving all I have to give, helping our young adults achieve their goals. Protector and leader.
Okay.
Doing things out of love. I stand for being resourceful for children. Kindness towards our children. Teaching the young men I have a way of being a better man.
All right.
Yeah.
And I ask these questions because sometimes what can happen when we are a part of a larger organization, whatever the entity may be, where we see ourselves, if we don't see ourselves aligning with the vision of where the district or the agency, company, whatever the case may be, is taking the district, company, or entity, there's often a disconnect to the point where I don't feel valued. I don't feel loved. I don't feel like I'm being used properly. I just don't feel a part. And so, for example, we may know the mission, right? The mission statement, the mission of what we're doing. This is what we do now, but this is our vision for the district. This is our vision for the future. But if I, as a team member of the district, am not feeling like I'm aligning with the vision or even a part of the future vision, it's going to be difficult for me to come in and try on a daily to give everything that I have to make a difference. And so we had some honest answers in my first session earlier. And some people expressed a few concerns. Some people opened up about what they felt they stood for. But I want us to just ask the question is what I believe I stand for, is it in alignment? Some people may feel like that overall vision is blurry. Some people may feel like it's more clear. But those things give us a sense of pride. They give us a sense of work ethic. It's a sense of commitment when we're looking at our individual impact and encounters that we have that contribute to the overall experience, the customer experience versus the actual customer service that we're giving on a day-to-day basis. And if the question is there that I don't feel up, if you feel that I'm not a part of the vision, or I don't feel like I'm included in where we're taking things in the future, I guess we should then ask the question, why is that? Why am I feeling this way? At what point did things change? What are contributing to me not necessarily being in alignment, if that makes sense? And so here are some ways that I believe we all can feel that we are making a difference to the overall experience that those have in the district. I know for me, when I'm in partnership with different schools, or if it's a staff development, if it's even a church, I'm always looking at the overall picture. What do they stand for? Where do they want to take things? What kind of experience, what kind of service can I provide as an individual that's going to help the overall team become better? Now, that doesn't mean that my value is necessarily going to be felt or seen. But for me, knowing that I've set the individual goal helps me improve in my self-awareness, in my self-knowledge, in my self-esteem. I always tell people setting goals gives you direction, achieving them gives you confidence. Even if it's a small goal, we talked about celebrating the small wins earlier. Even if it's something small, something that people would consider to be minute, something that people would consider to be not important. We can set them daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, write them out, and then find people who will hold us accountable. I have a good amount of people in my corner that I can share with you who hold me accountable. And so we could possibly find some of these people we work with, who are our coworkers, who are on the same team with us, in the same department with us, who can help hold us accountable. See, in times where we're feeling drained, burnt out, overwhelmed, and like giving up, having a goal that you set be achieved, especially in the midst of loved ones, can kind of help you get through that rut. And so I would just encourage you all, if you used to set some goals, or if you are currently doing it, good job. But those who are lacking in this area, just try it out. Try to set some of those individual goals to make sure that our encounter or your encounter with the family or the student, the client or the customer is exceptional. It's the best that you can give to make that overall experience the best that it can be.
Hey, real quick, Nate, Pastor Coach has his hand up. Did you have a question or a comment?
I had a comment. I mean, a lot of people don't really voice their dissatisfaction with the district when they have opportunities like this to share and to speak truth. They don't. And there's a lot of folks who have left the district. I mean, when you look at how we're struggling to get employees, we're struggling to, to have people help us do the work.
Yeah.
And it gets to be taxing sometimes.
Yeah.
But people don't feel like they're valued. And so a lot of folks just leave as opposed to making that voice known. In Columbus Public or City never knows why they've left.
Right.
That was all.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, Coach. And maybe down the line, that can be something that I don't know I don't know what I could do to help with that, but to make sure or to try to implement something where the voice of the people, of the team members, of the staff members is getting heard more. But I know that those things have taken place. I've heard about people transitioning out because of certain things that were going on. So I understand that. And, maybe if we had more spaces where we could feel comfortable enough to talk about more of some of those things, we could maybe have a shift to maybe see if there would be some type of difference that could be made or some policy or something that could be put in place. But I appreciate you sharing that and adding that part, just adding some context to our discussion. What you all are looking at right now is the SWOT analysis, which I'm sure many of you have already seen before. Now, typically, larger companies and organizations will use this as kind of a guideline to see what they need to work on. And really exactly what it says. What are our strengths? What are some of our areas of weaknesses? Is it the customer service? Is it our manufacturing? What are the opportunities ahead? And then threats. However, I learned to use this on a personal level. And remember, our overall theme is customer service today. But I think more of an emphasis should be placed on who we are individually and what happens before we even step into those roles, which I know for me has made an extreme difference in my life. And using something like the SWOT analysis has helped. And the S, as you all can see, is for strength, which says, what are your personal and internal strengths that you can lean on to help you achieve your goals? Weaknesses, now this takes honesty. Weaknesses, what are your personal internal weaknesses that you need to work on to achieve your goals? What external opportunities, such as resources, people, or training, can you take advantage of to help you achieve your goals? And the T, which is threats, what external threats, such as upcoming obstacles or contextual factors, can you predict and mitigate to ensure you reach your goals? Very quickly, would anyone like to go through the SWOT analysis for themselves? Just kind of explain certain areas where they could improve on. What are some opportunities? What are some threats?
Anybody, you can raise your hand
Well,
or unmute yourself.
I don't mind. I'm trying to dominate the thing, but I don't have a problem, sharing. So I think my strength is my straightforwardness. My weakness is the ability to compromise. I think that you guys are helping with these learning opportunities and some of the social and emotional things that's being dealt with in these trainings are helpful. And then the threats are just those who don't understand my plight. I mean, I'm on I think my fourth principle since I've been here, and the changes, it gets tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you acclimate to one person, and then, before you know it, there's somebody new. And then your strength, what was a strength to one administrator becomes a weakness and a challenge to another.
Right.
And so the things that you work for and develop, you find that as things are constantly changing, that you're having to adapt as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you.
Anybody else?
And I think we all can agree, or most of us on the call can agree, that it's just been tough for many people in the district. Let's just flat out be honest. It's been tough for many.
P. Cunningham would like to share.
Okay.
P. Cunningham, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. For me, this school year, I've been in district for 8.5 years now. This school year, there was a situation that arose at a school that I was working at. And so I called my supervisor, and my supervisor came, and she tried to get it resolved, but it didn't work. So I actually was taken out of that school. She found another school for me to go work in. So I've been at that school since then. But for me, the SWAT, because I've seen this before, because I had to do this when I was in college, so I know about all this. But I don't take change very easily, like our students do sometimes. And so I had to really adjust. First of all, that principal was just a second-year principal, and like Coach just said, when you want to go to another principal and the leadership changes, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So I was trying to adjust him in the best I could, but he didn't agree with it, and it just blew up. So she moved me. And so when I got over here, I had to adjust to them. And as I said, I don't take change very easily. So, but once I have adjusted now, I'm still currently at this school. I had to actually work on getting used to the new staff, the children, and this is also a bilingual school, so they're English and another speaking school, another speaking language. So I had to do that. And so I actually worked on my personal strength by just, stepping back and calming down and saying, okay, let me go with the flow. It is what it is. So actually the principal here wrote me a good recommendation letter to my supervisor and told her that I came in and did very well. So my supervisor took that into effect. So they're deciding on, what's the next step for me. But I'm leaving that in Laura's hands. But that's how I see this SWAT, as you do have to work on your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Because I had all four of them. I had strengths, had weaknesses, had opportunities, as well as threats. So that's what I wanted to share.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much, Coach, and Ms. Cunningham, I believe. Thank you so much for opening up and being willing to, just kind of get vulnerable and express some of your experiences in the district, because it's definitely helping the conversation. And I think it gives more context and probably more relatability to what some of the other staff members may be going through, but just aren't really touching on. But I thank you for sharing those. And so very quickly, let's lighten up the conversation a little bit. Let's lighten it up a little bit. I want you all to tap if you go into, I believe it's at the bottom of your screen, and hit more. I want you to hit annotate, which is like a pencil, looks like a picture of a pencil. And I want you all to put a star next to, let's just say, 2 of your positive traits as an employee? What are 2 things off this list that you feel are your strong suits? And you're going to use the annotate function to do so. So you'll just put your stars next to whatever your answer is. All right, committed, passionate, humble, positive, honest.
Somebody in the chat says humble and leadership.
Okay.
Somebody thinks I don't have any. A couple people don't think they. A couple people's pencil isn't working. We got ambitious and passionate. Positive and hardworking.
Okay. Hardworking, driven, self-motivated. Self-managed. Kenyatta Gibson says team spirit. Proactive. Okay. Creative. Detail-oriented. We'll give it another 15 seconds, and then we're going to transition from this screen. And so I wanted to bring up some of your strong points or some of your characteristics that you have that are positive so that we can kind of hone in on those when we're looking at the whole customer service experience versus, just customer service, what we're providing, and really hoping that we can hone in on some of these as we're working with the students and the families to fulfill what their needs are in the moment. And so we're going to go ahead and transition. And I believe we're going to be transitioning into our last point. Which is dealing with difficult personalities. So we discussed, remember, this is about customer service. This is about dealing with our families and our students, our departments, our department heads, our coworkers, our team members, customers, and clients. And we can be honest, it can be extremely difficult dealing with so many different people, so many different personalities, not to mention us naturally being who we are. Some of us are more introverted, some of us are less talkative, some of us are not as friendly. And so initially, we discussed what it looks like to put people first, have that commitment with people, with the customers, with the clients, but also making the commitment to put yourself first. We transitioned into the customer experience versus customer service, what that looks like in its entirety. Some people shared their feelings on how they feel the district is, whether it was not so pleasant or whether it was a good experience. And also on a micro scale, how we can hone in on our strengths, hone in on what we stand for to help make the district better, which is what I'm going to do myself as a partner in the district. And now lastly, focusing on dealing with the difficult personalities. I know we all go through this, and I'm sure we all may still be dealing with this to this day. And so I want to play this video. It's only a few minutes long that I believe will help us with understanding, listening, and asking questions as a way to de-escalate certain situations, but also just as a way to navigate when we may be having a difficult time.
Your ability to deal with people is going to have more of an influence on your success and happiness than any other skill you can develop. Now, it's easy to deal with pleasant, positive, cheerful people. It's when you have to deal with difficult people that you really demonstrate the quality of your personality and your ability to function well in a competitive society. So how do you deal with difficult people? People who have problems, people who are angry, people who are frustrated, people who attack you. Worst of all, people who do not mean you any good and want to take advantage of you. The starting point is very simple. Is take a deep breath and be patient. Calm down, go slow. Don't let other people's negativity or anger or frustration affect you. Step back in your own mind mentally and just smile. You know, there's an old saying, if you can't say something nice, don't talk at all, is my advice. Sometimes the very best thing you can do in dealing with difficult people is just to be dead silent. Don't feed the fire by arguing or getting involved. When you're dealing with a difficult person, just stop the clock like a timeout, just smile and don't say anything. And then when you do say something, remember one of the great communication tools is this, is the person who asks questions has control. The way that you can take control of any negative situation is not trying to win, but simply by asking questions. Say, you know, why do you say that? Or why do you feel that way? Or that's an interesting point of view. How did you come to that point of view? Or how would we know that what you say is true? I mean, is there any proof or validity? Instead of attacking, simply ask questions. And it's sort of like the matador backs away from the bull. As you keep backing away from the bull, you cape the difficult person by simply asking questions and being genuinely curious about what he or she is thinking and feeling and why they are behaving the way they are. Sometimes you may find that they have a good reason. Sometimes you may find that they misunderstand something. Maybe you will find that they have a difficult problem in their lives. But in any case, be calm, be patient, be controlled, and ask questions, and it will make you the master of the situation.
Seek to understand, ask the customer, client, or family questions. I know for me personally, one thing that has helped me out when dealing with so many different personalities, because I'm in partnership in different buildings and different departments, it could be just on a school level. It varies, right? And when you come in contact with so many different people and families, we can't be quick to defend ourselves when we are in situations that are a bit uncomfortable or where we feel ourselves getting upset. And this may sound simple, this may sound elementary, but it does work. When we're more curious than we are forceful with trying to make a point or show someone that we're right, it is a great way for de-escalation, but it's also a way to just genuinely show empathy and sympathy to other people. And in these final points, these are things that we have all heard before. This is nothing that's out of the ordinary, nothing extremely complex, but these are things that we do have to keep in mind when we are dealing with different individuals. And I believe people should do that when dealing with us, because sometimes we're not the easiest to handle. Listening can de-escalate. It's not always personal. Some of us may have a tendency to take every little thing personal, but what I want you all to remember is this. If someone is coming to you with a question, a concern, a problem, an issue, or maybe they're not, but they're in a space where they're not feeling the best, where they may be slightly disturbed or annoyed or upset, they may have had 2 or 3 encounters before they got in your presence or spoke to you over the phone. And so if they were mishandled with the first person and then the second person, and now they're coming to you, what my focus is controlling how my experience is with you. Because watch this, the way we experience The way we think people experience us is sometimes different than what it actually is. I've been married about 1.5 years, so I know that quite well at this point, but the way that other people experience us can be quite different than what we think. It's not always about you. It's not always about what you're saying. It could have been issues that happened the day before, a week before. And so having that empathy and being someone who is seeking to understand and ask questions really can de-escalate situations and help that experience, at least with you, be one that was decent to pleasant to exceptional, as opposed to what they may have experienced before. But wait, and I'm wrapping up here, but I want you guys to listen to this. And this may not be the most popular thing to say, but when dealing with difficult personalities, we might be the person with the difficult personality. I'm a firm believer that if we're in the same situation over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, there's something that we're contributing to that situation. Now, the overarching theme of this presentation was customer service, clearly. But what I really want you to understand is what it looks like to do the work for self. What it looks like to look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself about certain areas that you have to work on. See, when things go wrong, it is natural for us as humans to want to blame, for us to want to find who's at fault. And guess what? Often it's not us. We'll find someone outside of ourselves to take the blame. But what I'm saying is, if we can be better individually, I truly believe it'll impact the district at large if we focus on those experiences that we're giving when we're coming in contact with the families, the students, clients, or customers. They do make a difference. They absolutely do make a difference. But in order to get to this place, it takes hard conversations. This gentleman is looking himself in the mirror. Is it me? Are there things? No, not are there things. What things do I need to do better to improve my development? Do I need to invest in some extra classes, some extra courses? Do I need to take some more trainings? What do I need to do to make sure I'm fulfilling what I claim I stand for, what I believe the vision is of the department, of the district, of the company, and how can I make this experience with whomever I serve exceptional? What can I do to be better? And all in all, what I really wanted you all to get from this presentation is that if we do the work in these different areas, if we understand that it starts before we even get to the door, I truly believe there will be a change. Now, yes, there are things that we're fighting against in the district and certain things that, quite frankly, a lot of us can't control. But I believe some of these small details, goal setting, celebrating the small wins, the self-care, looking at yourself in the mirror, a personality check, SWOT analysis, all of these different things I believe will contribute to making us better. My hope is that you all got something out of our presentation and that you're encouraged. And I'm going to leave you with this quote before we drop our attendance link in the chat. It says, "We repeat what we don't repair." And when I saw this, I almost screamed. We repeat what we don't repair. And so if there are things about me personally, as an employee, as a team member, as a department head, that I need to work on so that I can be my best, I need to start the work, because it can become a repeated pattern that hinders me from growing in areas that I need to grow in.